Hi, Misha here, and I've done several videos on the Eurofighter F.2000 or the Typhoon, but I've got a new model. Well, actually, I've had it for a few months now, but haven't done a video on it yet. This is an RAF F.2 or Fighter Mark II variant. This is in the original air defense, the ADV role. In the original one we've looked at in the past, this is an FGR-4 or Fighter Ground Attack Reconnaissance Mark IV, which is mostly what the RAF is rolling with these days, but they still have a few F2s, and originally the F2 was, well, the original. So I would look at the different loadout for these and talk a little bit about the F2, but really for a complete history you can check out some of my previous videos. Now both of these are 1/72 scale diecast, and both are from Hobby Master, and the base aircraft is essentially the same. The difference is mostly in the loadout. The Typhoon, of course, has a very long and torturous and expensive development history, as if Europe looked at the F-35 and went, yeah, we can do that too. In reality, it actually goes back just as far. But anyway, by 2003, the very first ones were entering the RAF for testing. You'd have the T1, which was a two-seat trainer. This would be part of the Tranche 1, which was the name they gave to the first order block. That would be followed by the F2, still part of Tranche 1, even Block 1, which was an air-to-air, a defense fighter, as it were, because that's what the Eurofighter initially started off as. And the first operational squadrons reached initial readiness by 2006. And the plan was to continue acquiring and fielding the F2, the fighter, and eventually down the road progress to having a multi-role capability. But the UK kind of pushed this forward. With the Block 5, they introduced some air-to-surface abilities, and with the Block 10 and Block 15, these were further expanded. And actually, they had the FGR-4 first ready in 2008, long before schedule. So the time for the Mark II here, the F2, was pretty brief, and most were upgraded to being the Mark IV variant, or newer purchases from Tranche 2 and Tranche 3A were just, FGR-4s from the get-go. Now this aircraft is about 52 feet long with about a 36-foot wingspan, so not huge. It's capable of exceeding Mach 2 though at altitude, and even at sea level it can go supersonic. And it's also capable of super cruise at about Mach 1.5. It has these canards in the front for agility. We have a delta wing. And interestingly, the canopy is kind of set up where you can do the single seat or the two seat with kind of a modular design. They would make an upgraded version of the T1, the Trainer 1, becoming the T3. And those are the ones that are in the RAF these days. Now they would initially, like I said, have about 53 F2s and T1/T3s. So they had a number of these in the beginning, but most were converted. But about 24 were left as F2s. This was to save a little money because these were going to be used for, home defense, air defense, and also for adversary training. So they really didn't need the ground attack capability. Fun thing about the cannon, the Eurofighter has a 27mm Mauser cannon, and the RAF flip-flopped multiple times on if they were going to use it or not, but eventually decided to go ahead and do so. So anyway, a ADV, air defense variant like this, would have typically 4 AMRAAMs, AIM 120s, under the fuselage. This would be a variant of the American AIM 120C. And it would have 4 more ASRAAMs, AIM 132s, under the wings. These are essentially an update, a replacement in Europe for the AIM 9 Sidewinder, kind of equivalent to the AIM 9X used today. And then you would usually have fuel tanks. The Eurofighter has 13 hardpoints, so not at all light on the load there as far as ability to carry different things in a large payload. So air defense like this would replace like the F.2 Tornado, or even fill the roles that the Phantom used to do in the UK. But like I said, most were converted over or built as FGR-4s. This was actually the first of the Hobbymaster Eurofighters here. It's a 2011 setup and a multi-role configuration. There are quite a few differences between an earlier and a later block like this one, but they're going to mostly be internal, to do with sensors and computers and that stuff. The big things here are with our payload. And the multi-role will still have the 4 AMRAAMs for self-defense under the fuselage. If the stand wasn't plugged in, we would also have a lightning or sniper pod, either or, in the center hardpoint. Then we would typically have 2 fuel tanks, and then we would have an ASRAAM on each wingtip for close range self-defense, and then we would have a total of 4 air-to-surface munitions, for example, paveways. Now the Typhoon doesn't have quite the flexibility in ordnance as some other craft. There are plans and there have been some upgrades like the Centurion program, but a lot of stuff has been delayed, postponed. A lot of plans have yet to come to fruition because of budgets. But yeah, here we do have it set up pretty well, kitted out. And it can carry quite a bit. Total payload is just under 20,000 pounds. So not bad at all considering what it is. And it is relatively fast and relatively light, all things considered. But of course it doesn't have the stealth capabilities of the F-35. And there are plans to have the remaining F-2s out of service by around 2025. So just a few more years. Some older aircraft have actually already been scrapped, believe it or not. And to replace the FGR-4, well, they're already looking at it in the RAF. I don't think they've settled on anything specifically, but plans are underway for this replacement. And the same thing goes for Germany. I don't want to say the Eurofighter was a failure, I mean, it went into production. They've built over 550, but it seems like that was somewhat out of obligation because they really haven't even got into the Tranche 3B. Already talking about replacing it. It stayed in development too long. And, yeah. But it is a neat looking aircraft, and it is pretty European in its look. The Delta Wing, the canards, that's more of a European styling versus American. The F-35 definitely looks like something America would produce. Yeah, this is one of the newer ones that Hobbymaster came out with. I just thought it was interesting for the different layout and a few different details. I also do have a model of the T3 two-seat trainer from Corgi that you've seen in other videos. But I wanted to make this video relatively short and to the point, just showing off a different one here. So what do you think? Let me know in the comments. And as always, if you could, please like, share, and subscribe. This is Misha, and I'll catch you very soon. Next time.